Hello, hello, hello. This is Dr. Crystal joining you live from Guadalajara, Jalisco, which is in Mexico on the western side of the continent. And I'm excited to be back in a great cafe called Living Cafe. Not sure if you can hear me. I am mostly wearing these because it's loud in here, and so I want to be able to hear myself think. If you are listening and catching me live, please feel free to go into the comments and say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. This is a short live stream, but rather than be inactive on YouTube during this month, where I'm taking a 60-hour a week TEFL course, it's supposed to be 40 hours, but it's really 60. I wanted to just go live every Saturday morning while I'm out here studying and hoping to connect with my audience, grow my audience, and just carry you along the way with me on how things are going. I am also going to talk this week about the Spanish Immersion Week, which actually happened the week before the TEFL course. So it's my second full week in Guadalajara 3 weeks ago now. And it was at a language school called IMAC. And IMAC is abbreviated something about Mexican art and culture, and it's an institute for Mexican art and culture, something like that. But anyway, this cultural institute has a language school that's very popular and very successful at helping native Spanish speakers develop their English language skills to not only pass academic exams, but for social purposes, for business purposes. And of course, they also, because they have, I guess, expats and tourists in the community, have Spanish immersion opportunities as well. So I am in Guadalajara, as you might remember from last week and previous episodes, because I'm on sabbatical. And my 1 year anniversary of my sabbatical, I decided I would start doing things to explore future career and professional opportunities in, around the world, really. And teaching English as a foreign language, which is what TEFL stands for, if you're not familiar, is a way to travel around the world and get paid at least enough to keep a roof over your head and some food in your belly. Um, and you could get 1 year contracts or sometimes 6 months contracts and go from country to country or city to city within a country. And they will support you getting a visa to allow you to work in that space. So the program that I'm in is sponsored by the International Teacher Training Organization, and they're a global company. But Guadalajara has one of the best recognized places that does the intensive in person. And for me, in person learning was really important. So this episode today, why I'm here, is about my Spanish Immersion Week in Guadalajara. And the first thing I want to say is that many of you all may have heard me say that I've been studying Spanish for a long time. I started actually with Duolingo in 2020 during the pandemic, and I did Duolingo off again, on again for 2 years. I achieved the badge of 500 consecutive days, well, all of the 100 consecutive days. And when I first went to Mexico, Playa del Carmen, I believe it was 2022, I was severely disappointed to find that I did not actually have any conversation skills. So based on that experience, I proceeded to continue to try and different methods of improving. So Duolingo is a great place to start. It's free. It's an app. It's also one of those programs that you can, gamify your experiences so that you are all the time learning and feeling challenged and motivated. And to be honest with you, for me, that really worked well. So I went from Duolingo into trying some online programs, which for me did not work as well. I was not really disciplined enough at that time in my career. And then I went on to private tutoring, which for me, as you've heard me say many times, was a game changer in terms of me being able to really feel that I was making progress, because you have not only the individual accountability, but you can hire different tutors on different schedules to help you with different parts of your language learning journey. So I would argue that I was so successful that I was able to test into the intermediate class, and I am definitely not an intermediate speaker. If I had dreams of being an intermediate Spanish speaker, they were all crashed at the end of the first day in the immersion course at the intermediate level. But as a professional educator and someone who has achieved many advanced degrees, I would say that something I'm really good at is test taking. So I was successful at passing the test at the intermediate level. And let's be clear, it was a really hard test, and it was a test where the range for intermediate, let's say, was 21 to 40, and I scored a 22. So it's not like I busted into the interview. I just barely got there. So I had a choice to like hold myself back and do advanced beginner. And at the time that I arrived, I was like, well, let me try it, see if I could do it. And then if I can't do it, I'll do it. But then at the end of the first day, I had made friends, and they really encouraged me that I was doing just fine and I could handle it. So I let my ego get the best of me, and I stayed. And let me tell you, I worked my butt off that first week trying to stay in that class. And by immersion, I mean it's a 6-hour course. We started at 9 every morning. We ended at 1 o'clock, and it was nonstop Spanish. We did have a 15-minute break, I think, at 11 o'clock. Yeah. And that was really helpful because if you've only been doing Spanish an hour at a time with a tutor, or even if you're in a class that say meets once a week or twice a week for an hour, it's not the same mentally in terms of the capacity of your brain to listen to Spanish and speak Spanish for 6 hours straight all day long, and doing activities and having to be engaging and paying attention. So that was really a second reason why the Spanish immersion program was sort of like a bust for me. I will say that I think the part of the Spanish immersion program for me that was the most useful was the fact that I was required to speak Spanish for 6 hours. Now, of course, there were some times that when the teacher wasn't looking, or when he would look, I'll be honest, my colleague and I, who was also barely an intermediate, we ended up slipping back into English. But just hearing hearing Spanish for 6 hours a day and then being able to speak it was highly useful. So I'm really grateful that I did it. I learned a lot. I really loved the textbook that we used. In hindsight, I regret that I did not put myself in the advanced beginner course, because I feel like I would have gotten more in terms of the content of grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation, which is honestly what I still need. And I'll be honest with you, before I leave Guadalajara, there's a good chance that I will actually pay money to go back and take a week intensive of the beginner program. But that will be after the TEFL certification, after a week vacation in Puerto Vallarta when I come back through. And it may actually be next year. It's actually not very expensive. It's $200 US for the week. And then the book is about $55, I believe. So I would say that if you are learning Spanish and you're looking to do something new to shake it up, I think it's a great idea to travel to really any Spanish-speaking place and take an immersion course or take just a regular course. You can do IMAC courses a week at a time, a month at a time. There's a young man here from the UK who is in a committed relationship with a partner here in Guadalajara, who decided to spend the summer here with his partner, and also to take this immersion course throughout the summer. So he's living here to master fluency, and seemed to be doing quite well, because when I met him, I think he was in week 4 or 5 of the course, and I just ran into him again this week, where he's even further along, and you can just tell he feels really confident with his Spanish speaking skills. So I would say that I was intermediate by accident, and I'm glad I got the score that I did in the placement test, but I also know that learning at that level consistently for 6 hours a day was a challenge that I really did not need to sign up for. It wasn't really relevant for my goals and where I am at this point in my Spanish language journey. So that's a lesson learned, but because I enjoyed the pace of the program, it's definitely something that I intend to do again at a different level. So the next thing that I want to talk about is living the language and living in a space where native Spanish speakers abound, and where people who know English, or at least know enough English that they're willing to speak it with you, is very rare. So my daily life has been really interesting, and I will be honest with you, I'm really proud of the progress that I've made in having some of the daily conversations that somewhat are transactional. I live in a building where one of the four employees speaks English well, and even when that person is not on the desk, when I need to do something, I'm able to communicate with the other Spanish speakers. But I also think it's easier when you have some level of relationship with that person. So I know that for me, when I'm in situations where I'm doing repeated transactions or I'm going to see that person again, I want to do justice and respect to the language by looking up what I need to say first, by saying it correctly, by inviting them to correct me if I'm not saying it correctly, so I'm improving my pronunciation. I've had to do shopping, I've had to do laundry. As I said, I've had to make friends. Yesterday, I felt really good about going to a nail salon where the person who was, I guess, over their WhatsApp chat was speaking English with me over the chat. Even though I started in Spanish and English, she responded in English, so I kept going English. And I had a long appointment, almost 2 hours in the chair for manicure and pedicure happening simultaneously, and I was able to say different words in English and Spanish. And the young lady who was doing the pedicure, she was really interested in learning how to say certain English words. So we were having a really cool Spanglish conversation. I'll be honest, and I really enjoy that type of community feeling when I'm in a service or obtaining a service. I've also made friends with native Spanish speakers who are either permanently or either in my TEFL course or permanently living in Guadalajara through a close friend of mine who lives here as well. Additionally, I've had to do grocery shopping. I've had to navigate Walmart. That's a whole nother story. Yes, I have entered, I don't know, the demon zone. I'm not shopping in Walmart and Target as a U.S. citizen. And here, it just so happens that you know that you can find what you want and what you need efficiently. And so it's close. So, and there aren't a lot of options. So I have basically succumbed to the ease of the transactions by going into Walmart when necessary. And so these are small victories. I mean, because even when you're in a store that's a global brand or a U.S. brand, you need to be able to communicate in Spanish with the Spanish speakers. If it's a waiter, a cashier, the bag checker people, I didn't realize they were checking my bag. I just got in the line because I saw everybody getting in their line. But what they do is if you have a backpack, I went to the store after school, so I had my backpack with me. They put, I don't know what they're called, rip ties, magnetic rip ties in your backpack so that you can't open it. So you keep it with you, but you can't open it. And then when you go through the checkout, they take it out. So that's really kind of cool. I mean, as a way to prevent theft, I guess. I have not seen that in the U.S. Maybe they do it, but I hadn't seen it. But I didn't know what they were doing. I didn't understand what they were doing, and I wasn't paying attention to what they were doing with the people in front of me. I thought that was like a bag check when you go through. I don't know. I know there's a couple churches and theaters that I've been to where you just open up your bag and they look to see what's in it. I guess making sure you're not bringing in a weapon. So that's what I think I assumed that line was for. And when I got there, I realized they were doing something else. But of course, she couldn't communicate to me what she was doing. So it was bizarre. So I would say that is not an example of a small victory. That is an example of me being out here in the wild in a Spanish-speaking country and finding myself in the midst of a situation where I have to trust the process and go with the flow. I mean, I do generally introduce myself as, I'm here in Guadalajara taking a course. I am a person who speaks a little bit of Spanish. I might actually ask them if they speak a little bit of English. And sometimes they will say, yeah, a little, poco, poquito. Yeah, but I would say that, like here at this coffee shop, I come in and I finally bought myself a mug. So when I get a little paper cup, I can put it in this and then it can stay hot. Something I've been wanting. So I'm starting to accumulate things to make my life comfortable as I become a bit more confident and comfortable in my surroundings. I have not stayed in a location more than 14 days. I think there have been maybe 3 occasions where even if I'm in the city, I've stayed in the same address or building for more than 14 days. So actually today is my 14th day in the hostel that I'm staying. It's not really hostel living, honestly, because I have like a really large, beautiful, spacious bedroom with a closet and walk-in shower. It is an older building in a courtyard, a traditional Mexican courtyard building. So I am still getting like access to the bugs and the rain and the noise of the community and the neighborhood and the motorbikes. So that part is consistent with living in a neighborhood hostel. But it's a beautiful neighborhood with a lot of real vibrant energy, parks, music, people coming and going to work and school, the abuelas with the grandkids. Yeah, a lot of sports teams, people going, especially like on the weekend, you see people going to watch games in the neighborhood. Yeah, and I guess the last thing I want to say, because I don't want to be on here too long today, is that cultural exchange has become a really significant and valuable part of my sabbatical. If you are planning a sabbatical, I would hope that you would include some level of cultural exchange, even if your goal is not to become fluent in a language, that maybe you're going to an English speaking place. I would say I could have done something similar even when I was in the UK, or if you're in Canada where it's English speaking. There are huge cultural differences, some of which are related to a different language, but a lot of them are due to a different pace of life, a different value system, a different monetary system. There's another whole video I could do on my journey to still not really understanding the coins of Guadalajara, the Mexican pesos. I've been here, I think, a total of 4 weeks altogether. So yeah, I was here a week. I had the Spanish Immersion week and then 2 weeks in the TEFL certification course. So far, out of 4 weeks, more to come. But I still don't really. I still have people give me change, and I don't know what it is. I don't know what the change is. I don't know what the amount is. And although in some coins there are a number where it'll say 5 pesos or 10 or whatever, sometimes I can't see it because the coin is worn, and sometimes I can't see it because I just can't see. So I have my contacts on today. I definitely can't see when I wear my contacts. So let's go on and just say that. So in my next video, I really want to talk about um, some of the field trips and some of the cultural excursion things. So I've done a lot of eating food at Mexican restaurants. I'm excited today because I'm going to a restaurant that's known for its mole sauce and its pozole, which is a soup, sopa here. And I don't know if I'm going to have the green sopa or the red sopa or the chicken, the pollo sopa. It's usually a pork dish, so we'll see. I will definitely post pictures and let you know what's going on there. But that is all I have for you today. So if you are new to the channel, welcome to the community. I would love to have you as a subscriber. If you like travel information, if you're thinking about a sabbatical or a career break, or just really reinventing your life to do something that's more fulfilling and more easeful, I encourage you to follow my journey and be part of this channel and its growth. I would love to have you in our family of subscribers. And I wish you a very beautiful weekend, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.